Party people, what's up? We're back with another live deep dive into my series of I'll just tell you what to do. Not from the seat that I think I know all the answers, but from the seat of these are really effective things tremendously successful loan officers are doing, so go do them. We're on episode 6 of my 7-part series. Next week, the final episode. If you haven't watched all 6, you're missing out. I'm going to show you the video, and then we're going to go deep because we're talking podcasting.
P-O-D-C-A-S-T, find out what it means to me. P-O-D-C-A-S-T, find out what it means to me. By this point, you're familiar with podcasts. P-O-D-C-A-S-T, even if you're not listening to them yet. Now let me let you in on the ace up my sleeve.
Hello.
You should be making a podcast. Yes, you. Look, I get it. Podcasts weren't a thing back in the day. The closest thing we could get was buying some ad space on the local radio station. And those really only helped if certain people were listening at a certain time. Podcasts, on the other hand, are on-demand content for your audience. Because podcasts don't go as viral as some things on TikTok or Facebook, you're probably thinking it wouldn't work for you. Well, my friend, that's where you're wrong. Pay attention. This is where I tell you exactly what to do. You're going to record one podcast a month with 12 guests for your entire season. Recording a podcast is really easy, and it's going to serve 3 purposes. 1, to educate your past clients. 2, to connect with local realtors and businesses. And 3, to help you create more content. Podcasts target audiences with a common interest. So what's a common interest for all your past clients and future customers? Yup, buying and living in homes, specifically homes in your market. And the best part, it doesn't always have to include your expertise. Bring on guests that are helpful for your clients. Ask questions and watch them talk for 45 minutes. This could include home buying tips, local market news and information, new loan products, or anything that can help them while they live in their home. 74% of US podcast listeners say they listen to podcasts to learn new things. So bring on guests that can add value to the community and audience you're trying to influence. And finally, your podcasts are a content goldmine. And don't just record the audio for your podcast. Capture it on video as well. Now you've got content for your YouTube channel, clips you can cut and post across all your social platforms, and a podcast on Apple and Spotify. Boom. That's half your content for the entire month. I'm not dropping this. This is expensive. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I know the concept of starting a podcast may be stretching for a lot of you. It's new things to learn, and it can be really uncomfortable at first. But just listen to me. It's going to change the trajectory of your entire sales career.
All right, friends, I'm remote out here in beautiful Northern California. Palm trees, killing it. Yes, episode 6, I will tell you what to do, is me yelling at you to start a podcast. Now, I said this in front of groups of people, and everybody immediately freaks out because they're like, no, Alec, it's not for me. Just be quiet and listen for 1 second, okay? Reframe what you think. You're not going to be Joe Rogan, okay? You're not going viral. You're being helpful, all right? This is just a medium where you get to be extremely helpful. So listen up. Your podcast does not need to go viral and does not need to be this explosive, highly produced thing. Just bring people together, bring people on, interview them, and then send it back to your network. Send it back to your past customers, send it back to your realtors. That's the basis. That's the whole thing right here. Just listen. Are there things that your past customers need? Yes, absolutely. They need things. They need to know, like, if I'm going to hire a contractor, what's the best process? They need to know, like, should I have a will and should I get a trust? They need to, if I want to put a pool in, what do I do? They need to know things about the living of in their home. They even need to know about cool restaurants down the street or great small businesses that they should support or charities that are right down the street that they might have a passion for. These are all guests you get to bring on. to just give something back to your community, to your past customers, to help them and be helpful and thoughtful. This is unbelievable that you would have access to a network like this where you can you could Zoom interview with somebody, scrape the audio, throw it on a simple tool like Simplecast, and all of a sudden now you have a podcast out there in the world today. Stop overthinking it and just go do it. It's going to change your career. Number one, I'm just going to hit the high notes here, okay? Starting a podcast is easy. It is not complicated. A system like Simplecast, where you could pay a fee, upload your audio, and it pushes it to all the networks for you, done. I'm not even going to explain it. Just use the Google on how to do this stuff. But all of a sudden now, you bring a guest in, you ask questions about how they started their restaurant, what their favorite food is, what their favorite drink is on the menu, how did they deal with COVID, how did they survive? And all of a sudden now, your entire past customer base and your realtor base has access to a cool interview that you can email them and you can post on social with a cool owner of a great local restaurant that they now get. First of all, does the owner of the restaurant love you a little bit more? They're like, oh my God, thank you. You're giving me free publicity for my restaurant or my bar. So yeah, they're going to share it with their network and pull you right along with it. You don't need to be Joe Rogan. You don't need to overthink this. Having a podcast is as simple as interviewing somebody over Zoom. Now, can you go one step up? Can you buy a bunch of cool gear? Can you have a studio, lights, cameras? Yes, of course. Do you need to start that way? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You can absolutely have a podcast that's just literally done over Zoom interviews. Now, is it going to have the best audio? Probably not. The person coming in on Zoom might have bad audio, might have bad video, but you can have good audio and you can have good video if you care about setting up yourself with nice stuff. And all of a sudden now you're out there producing content that you get to double down on, you get to reuse and reshare, but you're also doing something of value to share with your community. You need to start a podcast. I'm sorry it's new and it's uncomfortable. I wish it was not, but it is, and it's here, and it's not going away, and it's an on-demand medium where you can just film something, record something. So I get this question a lot. Well, Alex, why are you telling me to film it? Podcast is all audio. I know podcast is all audio, okay? I know. But if you're already doing the interview with somebody, if you're already bringing them together, you might as well capture the video too. Because now you've got another medium, another place where people can go experience it. Because do people only want to watch podcasts, listen to podcasts on the podcast networks? No. They watch it on YouTube. They open up a tab on YouTube, they crank it up, listen to the podcast for the day. All good. You're already doing the work. You might as well capture it in multiple places to serve your audience, to serve it up to your audience in different ways that they want to consume it. I don't know how else to simplify this for everybody. Doing a podcast is as simple as getting on a Zoom call and having a conversation with somebody, inviting a guest on. And so my challenge for all of you out there in loan officer land is to bring on one guest a month for 12 months. Once a month, every month, you can find a guest to come on. It doesn't need to be an earth-shattering, life-changing guest. It could be a financial planner. It could be a local contractor. You can interview a local realtor on the best and worst times to sell your home. They'd love to be interviewed on that. And then you can share it with your network. You can bring on a estate planner. You can bring on a local gym owner, a local health and fitness person, a local dietitian, a local restaurant owner, a local small business owner, a local charity owner. It doesn't matter as long as you think that that person can add a little bit of value to your past customer base. That's the goal. That's your podcast. And people get stuck on this. I need a catchy name. No, you don't. The Alec Hansen podcast. Done. You're welcome. Except use your own name. You don't need to have a catchy stuff. We're not trying to go famous. We're trying to market ourselves. We're trying to maintain our relevancy with our past customers, and we're trying to serve our community. That's it. Don't overthink it. Jump on a Zoom, film it, scrape the audio, use the Google to figure out how to put it into the podcast network, and you're done. Here, I'll even tell you this. If you're serious about this, if you're like, okay, Alec, I'll do it, send me a direct message. I will personally get on a phone call with you and explain to you exactly how I do all my podcasts. All the technology, all the systems, all the softwares, and because I do all my podcasts now live. I don't even post-produce. I don't even record them anymore. They're done just like this is done right now. All my podcasts are done live. Why? Because I want to be done. I don't have to send it off to a producer and have it edited and shared. I want it done then. And then afterwards, I can send it to somebody and they can give me clips. But that's it. And if you're interested, I'll give you all the keys to the kingdom. I'm not going to just tell you to Google it like I am right now. But it's so easy. It's such a low-hanging fruit. And most people aren't stepping into it because they're uncomfortable. But you don't even have to be the expert. If you listen to the little video, that's the beauty of a podcast. You're not even the expert. You just ask nice, thoughtful questions. You'll be shocked at how easy somebody can talk about themselves or their business for 45 minutes to an hour all day long. And you can interject and ask clarifying questions, etc. This is not hard. And it's so worth it. Because the last part of this whole thing is not only do you get something cool to send to your past customers and send to your realtors, but you now get to clip this stuff up to cut images, quotes, clips, and it's a content making machine. It's called long form content if you want to get specific. And you can take that long form content and cut clips up and reshare it on your social network and remind people, hey, this podcast launched last week. Check this clip out with this cool quote from, Johnny. And then they see the clip and they're like, oh yeah, they click the link, they listen to the podcast again. Start a podcast right now. Business is slow. Start a podcast. Frame it in your head. Don't worry about going viral. Just do something cool for the community around you. And you don't even have to talk about yourself. Every single person I've ever met that has started a podcast has never regretted it. It'll change the trajectory of your career. It'll connect you to more and more people. I'm serious. Hear me on this. I said it before. I'm going to say it again because I really want you to hear me on this. Let's say I interview a small business owner. Let's say I interview a restaurateur. Let's say I interview a realtor. Let's say I interview a CPA, financial planner, etc. Do you think they're going to take this podcast and share it with everyone they know? Of course they are. Of course, it's kind of an honor to be featured on a podcast, even a little one. It's kind of honored to be interviewed. You interview a CPA, you think he's going to send that podcast to everyone he knows, to all his customers? 100%. And guess who's going right along for the ride? You. Yeah. And you don't even have to talk about doing home loans. And you're going right along for the ride to their entire sphere. This is a game-changing, contemporary strategy that needs to be embraced. And if you're feeling weird that it's a podcast, don't call it that. Just tell these people, hey, I like to interview some local business owners and some people that I think can be really helpful for my past customers. And I send that interview out to my past customers. If you're feeling weird about calling it a podcast, great. And I also store it on YouTube. Oh, and I also scrape the audio and I put it on Apple Podcasts. But, it's just an interview. Great. Go have fun. This is a no-brainer. This is a contemporary, relevant strategy. It is important to integrate and put it into your life. It will change the trajectory of your business. Go start a podcast. You don't need a fancy name. You don't need a fancy cover. And if you want help, send me a DM. I will help you. And we will launch this baby. Okay? This is number 6 of the 7 things to do to win in this market. Next week, final episode, final 7th thing to add into your mix to win. If you missed some of these, go check them out. Appreciate you all. I'll see you on the internet.
Yeah.